So there's a lot of buzz on the internet about this whole let them theory, which has been popularized by Mel Robbins. And it's kind of being touted as the savior of a lot of relationships. So in today's video, I want to break down what the let them theory is, the good points about it, but also some of the ways that it can be misused and potentially cause more damage to a relationship. So for those of you who don't know, Mel Robbins' let them theory is a mindset shift that helps you to stop wasting energy on controlling others instead of focusing on your own peace. The idea is, if someone is doing something that you don't want them to do or you don't think they should do, the idea is to let them do it. Not only for their sake, but also for your sake as well. The idea is that your partner is going to do what they want to do. So instead of trying to control or change other people, your partner, friends, family, etc., accept that they're going to act according to their own beliefs, their own desires, and their own priorities. By letting them, it allows you to stop taking their actions personally. So when someone is making a choice that you don't like, this is a choice about them, not you. Their actions are reflective of their values, not how much you're worth, not your values, not your ideas, not your opinion. And by letting people, it allows you to let go of resistance. So it stops you from trying to force, convince, coerce, manipulate, or fix people. Trying to do this, as you may have found, leads to a lot of frustration, a lot of resentment, and ultimately the breakdown of a lot of relationships. By accepting the reality of your partner being free to make their own choices, this actually frees up your mental and emotional energy, and it stops you building all of this expectation within yourself. But most of all, the idea of the let them theory is to refocus on yourself. So instead of obsessing over what other people are doing, you're putting all of that energy that you would have been wasting into your own goals, your own growth, and your own happiness. And ultimately, the idea is that peace comes from acceptance, right? The more that you let your partner be who they are without attachment to their choices, the more peace and clarity you'll have in your own life. It's about emotional freedom. It's letting go of what you can't control and focusing on what you can. And this whole idea is actually what I talk about a lot with my relationship members, which is what we call the paradox of control. The more that you try to control somebody else's actions, the less control you end up having over it. So if you're trying to change your partner's opinion, you're trying to, if your relationship is broken down, you're trying to persuade them to come back to you, you're trying to control their view of you, paradoxically, the less control that you will end up having. In fact, the more that you try and control, the more that they will want to break free from that control, the less safe they'll feel around you. Because when you think about it, what do you have control over? You have full control over what you do, over who you are, who you become, how you act, how you react, how you respond. You have full control over that. What you don't have control over is what other people do. You can't control them, you can't force them, you can't push them. It kind of works for a little bit. If you threaten someone, threaten your partner, if you leave me, I'll never speak to you again. If you cheat on me, then I'll never forgive you. You can try to control what they do. But ironically, the more that you do that, the less control you have over the situation, over the relationship. Because if you think about it, if you've been threatened in the past, you may do temporarily what the other person is saying to do, but ultimately, it doesn't feel like a choice that you're making. So the more that you focus on how you respond, how you grow, how you change, and how you react to other people's decisions, the more control you will have over the situation. So this idea of letting them, this let them theory that Mel Robbins talks about is really, really strong. But the problem is that this is only one tool in a bigger toolbox. And actually, the let them theory can be misused, and this can cause a lot more damage to the relationship and actually start to decrease attraction within the relationship. So I'm going to talk about that in a minute, but first I want to talk about why the let them theory is so good psychologically. So this let them theory actually aligns with self-determination theory. And this is a psychological framework that explains what drives human motivation and our own well-being. So self-determination theory is a psychological concept that is based on 3 core needs. So that's autonomy, competence, and relatedness. If we have these 3 core needs, we will feel self-determined. And in constantly chasing these core needs, this is what builds us up. So autonomy is the need to feel in control of our own choices, right? Nobody likes to feel controlled. Nobody likes to feel like they're not free to do whatever the fuck they want to do, right? But then there's also competence, and this is the need to feel effective and capable. This is, we want to feel like we are able to do things, that we have capability in the world of making a change, of doing things. But then there's also relatedness, and this is the need to feel connected to other people who have a similar vision, who have a similar mindset and idea and views and values on the world. So this Mel Robbins let them theory fits into this bigger framework. So it honors autonomy, which is one of the three self-determination theory elements. So by allowing your partner to make their own choices without trying to control or interfere them, you're respecting their fundamental need for autonomy. You're actually providing a lot of value. So this let them theory is really good because it reduces controlling behaviors that undermine your partner's motivation. So when you're trying to force someone to act in a certain way, this triggers a resistance. This is a natural human emotion. If I told you what to do, you may do it, but there's going to be a big part of you that is going to be like, he can't tell me what to do. He's not me. He has no right to do this. And it's the same in a relationship, even in a marriage. You have no right to tell your partner what to do. So even though they may do it temporarily out of fear, long term, this reduces that feeling of freedom that they have, and ultimately it's going to backfire, right? This decreases their intrinsic motivation, this internal motivation to want to do things, right? They're doing stuff that they don't want to do because they don't feel free. So this let them theory prevents this by allowing your partner to act in alignment with their own values. So in giving your partner the autonomy to be able to make their own decisions, to do what they want to do and not forcing them to do something different, this shifts your focus to your internal growth. And this is what's really, really crucial, because the more that you focus on your internal growth, on what you can control, paradoxically, you end up creating more influence on other people. The more that you have self-control, how you respond to situations, how you communicate, the more likely people are to trust you, to listen to you, to be able to comprehend what you're saying without you having to force your partner's hand. So instead of wasting energy on trying to change your partner, which again, like we said, causes frustration and resentment, let them encourages you to focus on your own autonomy, your competence, and your relationships. Because ironically, when you stop trying to control your partner, your relationship ends up improving. Your partner feels respected, and this leads to a much more genuine connection. You end up creating an environment where both you and your partner can thrive based on your own choices rather than pressure, guilt, or expectation. So this let them theory aligns with a lot of this self-determination theory by reinforcing this autonomy. But like everything, this is not all sunshine and rainbows. In isolation, this let them theory can actually lead to a lot more damage in the relationship. So if you think about it, autonomy is only one part of this self-determination. So the let them theory can be misunderstood and misused. And a lot of people can start using this let them theory in a way that is just agreeing to everything your partner says or does, or even encouraging them to do things that you disagree with. And this, especially if you're a fellow ADHDer, this can lead to a lot of people pleasing. Misusing this let them theory can lead people to think that in letting someone do something, this is agreeing with them. This is saying yes. If someone is telling you to do something, this is you saying, I will do that. Of course, I'm letting you tell me what to do. I'm letting you direct what I'm doing, right? So you can end up not speaking up. You can end up agreeing to things that you have a different opinion on. Or you can end up encouraging your partner to make decisions that you think are unwise. So this let them theory is not to be used in isolation. Just because you're giving someone the freedom to make their own choices, that this is never communicating an alternate opinion. Because one of the biggest mistakes that people can make in relationships is, yes, autonomy is really, really important, but it has to be within the context of the other things as well. So if complete freedom is the only thing that you really give in a relationship, then ultimately your partner is going to lose respect for you. They may love you, but if you're unable to present an alternative opinion, a different point of view in an effective way that is not controlling, then what value are you really adding? If you think about it this way, if you're just yesing your partner, ultimately this can lead to a very dangerous path. If you think about it, your partner wants to drive the car after drinking 15 glasses of wine, or your partner thinks it's a good idea to blow $15,000 on lottery tickets. Let them. So giving someone autonomy to make those decisions is crucial. But it's important to, over time, build the trust and respect of being able to communicate an alternate opinion at the right time in the right way. Being able to give the right seeds of alternate perspectives and being able to develop systems that work for the relationship over time. And this is really crucial because it's all about timing and delivery. And this specifically is what my members and I call intellectual intimacy. This is part of the three main elements of relationships. I won't go into all now. If you do want a deeper dive into these three main elements, then join my Relationship Bootcamp, where I break down all of these elements, how they interact and how they're crucial for repairing, growing, and building healthy relationships long term. Just click on the link in the description down below if you want to grab your spot. But ultimately, there's three elements of relationships. There's emotional safety, which is the freedom to express your feelings without any negative consequences. But then there's intellectual intimacy. And intellectual intimacy is the trust and respect of being able to grow the relationship in the right way. Then there's goal synergy, which is aligning your goals together. So if autonomy is part of emotional safety, giving someone the freedom to be able to express themselves and make their own decisions, intellectual intimacy is the trust and respect that drives relationships forward. So cultivating a relationship that is growing, moving forward, and looking for more effective ways of doing things is really, really crucial. And this is the difference between the let them theory, which is, complete freedom, and force them, which is complete control, right? This is the middle ground of being able to give them the freedom to make their own choices, but also being able to present an alternate perspective that can empower them to make a stronger decision. So yes, the let them theory is really powerful, but it is part of a bigger tool set. Ultimately, if you want to help them and empower them to make better decisions, then you need to build that trust and respect over time as well. So I've actually done a deeper dive on building back respect within a relationship, which I'll link to on the screen. But ultimately, this is all about making sure that you're cultivating this emotional safety, but being able to lead the relationship in the right way. And that all starts with what you do, what's in your control. So I'm going to leave you with that deeper dive video on building respect in a relationship, and I will see you over there.